very simply, you're going to get asked this until the transfer window shuts. Any bids for Luke McCowan? Anything that you're aware of?
Not that I'm aware of. No, we had a good conversation with Luke today. He's had a couple of great training days with us, and he's fully focused as a Dundee player getting into a difficult game against Hibs on Saturday. But no, he's a fully committed Dundee player, and that will remain the case until I hear different.
I mean, while the speculation continues, I mean, do you have any concerns that, you know, his mindset might be elsewhere, or you haven't spoken to him, the kind of kid he is? You know, he's able to leave that at the door.
Yeah, not in the slightest. You know, he's such a brilliant professional, and I do speak with him regularly, and I've got such a good relationship with him and such a high respect for him, not just as a footballer but as a person, alongside so many others in that dressing room there. So no, I've got no reason to believe, as recent as, you know, half an hour ago there with a good chat, and no, he's absolutely focused on the job he's got to do for Dundee. He drives standards at this football club, as do so many others in there, and he's fully committed. We've had a really good training week. He's fully committed towards what's going to be a difficult game going down to Easter Road. I understand the club have not won there since 2001. We had a draw there last year, so we'd like to go one better, but we realise it's going to be a tough match, and Luke will be part of a squad that's going to hopefully put in a committed 100% performance to try and get the job done.
Just staying on this theme, I mean, with the success you had last season, and have started this season in the same vein, has anyone come calling for any of your other players?
Again, nothing to, you know, I'm not in the I don't like doing speculation, so until there's anything factual about that, nah, there's not. You know, we're just continuing to focus as a group, you know, and I think the group are performing extremely well. I think we're in a really good place. I think the statistics back that up with 29 goals in 7 games and 10 different scorers. You know, we're in a good place. I've just seen them coming off the training field there in a really confident mood. So, no, we'll just continue doing what we do as a group, and if we hear anything, we'll let you know.
And in terms of bringing players in, are you close to bringing anyone else in ahead of the...
Again, it's all speculation and rumour, and I'm very much, I don't like dealing with that. You know, once there's facts to tell you, once there's stuff to tell you, we'll tell you about that. But of course, in terms of the recruitment process, we're always working behind the scenes to make sure we can, first of all, identify areas where we can strengthen, and then we would look to recruit from that. But I have to make the point, I've got such a strong squad of players, a brilliant squad of players to work with. I love working with that group, and we'll only bring in what's going to supplement and complement what we've got at the moment.
Have you got a number in your head for the number of players you'd still hope to
Again, it's not for me quantity, it's quality. So at the moment, I'm really happy with the squad. I realise we maybe a couple of additions, but I'm not put a number on that, but a couple of additions to make sure that we're ready for the season ahead. But as I say, it would need to be something that's going to supplement and complement the really strong and good squad that I've got at the moment.
You mentioned the great start to the season that you've made. I didn't realise that apparently it's Dundee's best start to a season for 52 years.
That's new to me as well, I never knew that. Thanks for that.
But it's quite something when you actually, you know, it just kind of shows you how well this group are doing, doesn't it?
It does. You know, somebody else threw a stat at me that, you know, we scored our 29th goal on Saturday, the 17th of August. We've done that last season on the 23rd of January. So, again, for me as manager and for our staff, it's all about making progress and making improvement. And if we're continually doing that, these stats will keep coming. But what's the really important factor in all that is very much keeping your feet in the ground, working hard on a daily basis and making sure you keep trying to get the levels of improvement in your squad. And listen, yes, the players deserve massive credit for what they've done, but you know, we won't get carried away. We're working hard as a group. I've just come off the training field with them there, and they're in confident mood at the moment. You know, there's a buzz about the place, there's a good tempo about things, but we're very much focused on what our job is, and our job is on Saturday we're going to Easter Road to play against a Hibs team that we know we need to be our best to beat.
I guess after what you achieved last season, a lot of people would have been, while giving you the plaudits, would have been asking the question, can Dundee build on what was a fine campaign last season? I know it's early days, but certainly from the outside looking in, the answer to that question looks like being yes.
It's early days, but you know, we've had a really good League Cup campaign, which was my first objective, and the players, we share objectives. That was our first objective. Now we went into league campaign, and we've started well. You know, there's no doubt about it, we've started well, but I've been in this game long enough, I'm experienced enough to know that you never look too far ahead, you know, and I know you guys don't like the old cliche game by game, but that's how we work. You know, we work on a daily basis, we're always wanting to improve as individuals, and if we can continue to do that, then hopefully we'll keep seeing progress in the squad.
In terms of the challenge that Hibs will pose, probably not at the start to the season that they would have hoped, but I mean, I take it you're going down there expecting nothing other than, you know, just a really tough challenge.
Tough game, great venue, fantastic playing surface, you know, really, really good club, and they've got a lot of really good individual players. And a manager, and David Gray, and assistant Liam Craig, two guys I know really well. So we're under no illusion. You know, Hibs have had 3 games. You know, they've qualified themselves through the League Cup campaign. Out of their 3 games, 2 have been against Celtic. And watching them against St Mirren, I thought they had a really strong, particularly first half performance. So there's absolutely no way we would underestimate our opponent, you know, or look at it any other way than it's going to be a real tough game. So we've done our work on them in terms of our analysis. We know they've got real strengths. They've got real talented individuals within their squad. So it's our job as a staff to identify strengths, you know, and try and negate these strengths and try and exploit any weaknesses. And we'll be doing that, and we'll make sure that we've got a game plan, something that we've been working on all week to try and execute that and come away with maximum points. Because somebody, again, another stat told me that the last time Dundee won at Easter Road was in October 2001. So again, it's another challenge for the players. We went down there last year with a nothing each against them at Easter Road, and hopefully if we can go one better, then there's, you know, that's the ambition, that's the objective of the squad.
Team news?
Yeah, at the moment still Joe's long term, but we're making real progress. They're up in the training field with Clark Robertson, Charlie Riley, and Josh Mulligan. So they're not in the squad yet, but on last week's Seb Palmer Holden and Billy Cometti have trained all week, so they'll be available for selection.
Just away from the game this weekend, I know that the SFA have published the kind of results of the study into what I think they call this transition phase, 16 to 21 year olds, and you know, looking at how best to kind of bridge that gap perhaps that there is between under 18 and first team football. We looked at a number of areas, looked at a number of areas that perhaps can be improved. I think there's a few suggestions that are going to be then explored and taken forward. I'm just wondering, how big an issue do you think it is in terms of players in that kind of age bracket being able to make the jump from effectively the academy into the first team? And how big a problem do you think it is in Scottish football?
I can only speak as manager of this football club, and I'm really proud of the statistic that's just been published, that we're at the forefront of that, you know, in terms of under 21 minutes. We're over double what the average is in the Premier League in our country. So that's a really proud statistic for me. You know, last year we had 11 under 21s, 8 of which were internationals. This year, in our first game of the season, we started with 5, and Josh Mulligan coming off the bench made it 6. So that's as manager, and I think the club need to take a lot of pride in that as well. You know, that we are promoting young players, good young players, and I've always said as manager that if they're good enough, they're old enough. And coming into was one of the biggest appeals to me coming into this job here, when you get the opportunity to work with the Josh Mulligans, Lyle Camerons, Finn Robertsons, and you add to that last year, you know, your own Becks and boys like that. I enjoy working with these players, and I think, you know, I think the club should be really proud of these statistics that were unveiled, to say that, you know, we're double what the rest of the average is in the league.
And in terms of the bigger picture, I mean, is there anything you think needs to change in Scottish football as a whole in order to perhaps see more players like that get more opportunity?
I think the audit, you know, it kind of clearly illustrated that the more experienced young players under 21 can get, the better it is, obviously, for going forward. And we've got, for it, you use the example of Lyle Cameron and Josh Mulligan, who are regular Scotland under 21s. You know, you look at the amount of appearances they've had now. They're good players, you know, and they've played a lot of football now, so they're ready. And that can only develop them as particularly young Scottish players. So, no, I'm quite passionate about it, and I'll say I'm really proud as manager of this football club, and the club should be proud with these statistics that were unveiled there. And it just shows that we're doing a lot of things right, and we're going in the right direction.
How much do you feel that these young players that are in and around the first team are helping create the atmosphere that you have here at Dundee Football Club? Because they've got fresh ideas, they've got new thoughts. How does that impact on the good atmosphere?
I would say that what they do, you know, and everybody will tell you this, young players, they bring a freshness, they bring a real energy. And I think if you're a supporter, you know, you want to come along and you want to feel that energy in the stadium. I feel that group of players, the group of players that I've worked with at Dundee, do that. And I think it's really important, and I always talk about that synergy between the players and the crowd. And I think answering your question there, the young players do that. You know, they bring that energy, they bring that freshness, you know, real enthusiasm, and that's something that I'll always encourage. And I see it on a daily basis. You know, I see how much the players enjoy their job, enjoy what they do, and I think that has to be. You have to make sure that that gets across to the supporters as well. And I'd agree with you. I think it's something that we've got here.
You talk about recruitment and the way that Dundee work here, and constantly looking. That must take a little bit of cramming at the end of this transfer window away from it. But you also have all these young players as well, so that must ease a little bit of the pain of the end of the transfer window for you.
Yeah, it can do, you know, and it's important. I think for the young players, it's important that they see a pathway, and certainly the young players at this football club, they look up to. I say to them all the time, your Josh Mulligans and Finn Robertsons and Lyle Camerons, they're role models for these young players, and they do see that there is a pathway at the football club, that if you do the work in the training field, if you do apply yourself, if you do act in a professional manner as a footballer, you'll get your opportunities here. And that's what we're seeing at a football club. And listen, they're not just getting opportunities because they're getting opportunities because they're really talented young players. And as I said, when I first came into this job as manager, it was the biggest appeal about it was the young, hungry academy graduates. And I have to give great credit to also the senior players that have been brought into the club, because I call them the kind of cultural architects, because they shape, you know, the dressing room, the way they play, and they've got a huge impact in that as well. But for the young ones that are part of it, of course, they bring that enthusiasm, energy, but for me, they've got real quality as well.
You're heading off to Easter Road this weekend. Hibs has had a pretty poor start. You've had a fantastic start from there. What can the fans that are travelling through in great numbers again expect when they get to Easter Road on Saturday?
I think what they can expect, what I'm asking them to expect is a team that's hungry, and we just touched on it there with the young players, but not just so much the young players, a team that are hungry to do well for the support, for themselves, for the club, you know, and that's what they'll see. They'll see a team that we've been working hard all week. I've seen some real top training sessions this week. I'm feeling a good energy about the place, and we'll do everything we can to make sure we can continue the progress that we've made since the start of the season. So I think the fans will see that. I think they'll see a group of players that are, you know, not even just the ones starting the game, maybe the ones that are finishing the game, that are giving everything for their club and for their support to try and get maximum points.
I believe there's been some reports that Antonio Portales could be in line for his first call-up to the Mexican national team. And just, you know, what do you think that would mean for him, and how does that speak to his performances for the club?
Do you know, I just heard that before I came in, and I'm absolutely thrilled with that news. I couldn't be happier for that particular individual, because he's been an absolute credit. He's a fantastic professional, you know, and his level of performances he's put in. You need to remember the difference in climate, for example, and culture, you know, and it can be difficult for a player. Antonio's been the consummate professional, and it doesn't surprise me that he's hoping to gain that international recognition, because his level of performance and his consistency has been fantastic. But for me, the professionalism that he shows on a day-to-day basis, there's nobody deserves that call-up more than Antonio, and I'd be absolutely thrilled if that's confirmed that he gets that.
And I suppose, can news like that alongside the atmosphere here at the club and the start be a sort of, you know, help to attract players, but also help, you know, keep players here?
Yeah, again, that's an example of good practice, you know, as have, you know, the experience of the loans last year, that, you know, the loans worked here for both players and club. That's another example. You know, you take a player from another country, you challenge him, you say get yourself in the team and gain recognition internationally, and Antonio's done that. So of course we can then use that example of good practice to other players that we're maybe looking at in the same respect. So no, it's a really good example of that. And again, as I say, because he's such a brilliant guy and he's fantastic about the place, he's just everything you want as a manager. He's the type you want in the dressing room, and he's so popular with the rest of the players that if he did get that recognition, I'd be absolutely buzzing for him.
Just finally, you've gone for a sort of 4 at the back to start off for the last 2 games after you made that change, you know, during the game against Dundee United. And is that something you're looking to take forward, or are you going to, you know, stick with that flexible approach? What
I'm really pleased with is the flexibility. You know, you just said it there, that we can go to a back 4, we can play as a back 3, we can play as a 5, we can have a front 2. But that's what I'm trying to do, you know, and I think we're getting there in terms of assembling a squad that are talented enough and educated enough on the training field that we can adapt different styles, you know, and different, you know, styles of play that we can do within a game, you know. So we're flexible, and I like the fact that we've got players. Players need to have a level of intellect and intelligence to be able to adapt to different systems, and I feel as if I've got that as part of the process that, you know, myself and the staff are working on a daily basis, and I'm pleased to see we've got that flexibility.
Very simply, Simon, give us your thoughts going into this weekend's game.
Yeah, I mean, looking forward to it as always. It's good to, big game again. There's a lot of games this season to look forward to. And Hibs away is another great challenge for the boys, and it's going to be a good occasion.
Obviously, you've been here for a little while now since you came back. What have you made of the start the team have made? Because I guess after last season, a lot of people would have been saying, can Dundee build on what they achieved last season? The early signs are that they can.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a good start. Obviously, we scored a good amount of goals from the League Cup group stages, and then taking that into the first two league games. So there's definitely things that we can improve on. We know that, but all in all, it's been a fairly decent start. But again, football's got a way of bringing you back down to earth, and we just need to keep doing the basics right that we're doing and training hard, and hopefully it continues.
And that's the key, isn't it? I mean, it almost seems like a continuation of last season. The plaudits are continuing to head Tony's way and Dundee's way, but it's about ignoring all of that, isn't it? And not getting carried away and keeping your feet in the ground and focusing on game by game, isn't it?
Yeah, I think when you start listening to outside noise, you can maybe take your foot off the pedal or start to do things that you wouldn't do before. So again, the manager's got us all on just focusing day-to-day training, staying together as a group, and just continuing what we've been doing.
I'm just wondering, I mean, this week obviously the Scottish football spotlight will again be in Europe with Kilmarnock and Hearts in action. We've seen St Mirren also have a taste of European action. When you see that and you look at kind of how close maybe Dundee got to it last season, does that almost whet the boys' appetite, saying that we want a bit of that next season?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's the sort of the challenge is that you want to be playing against the best teams, and obviously in a European competition, that's what you would get. I mean, it's great to see St Mirren and Kilmarnock in there, and it brings a real buzz about their club. So it would be great to give something like that to our fans as well. And I mean, from a personal point of view, to go and play in a European competition again would be great.
Obviously, Dundee have been scoring goals for fun this season. Have you set yourself any scoring targets yourself this season?
I mean, I don't actually really sit down and set. Obviously, I got a good number of goals last year, but first and foremost, I just like to play as a team player, and I know the goals will hopefully always come. But I mean, whether it's me or anybody else in the attacking line, as long as we're winning and keeping that positive run going is more important.
Just a final one for me. Hibs haven't made the start to the season that they perhaps would have liked. How tough a challenge though are you still expecting? Because I suspect there'll be a lot of people out there that will be just waiting for Hibs to kind of click in and go on and enjoy a better season than they had last time round.
I mean, that's another club with massive expectations. They're a big club, and we're under no illusions. It's going to be a tough game. They've got some really, really good players. So, again, we know the threats that they carry, and we just need to focus on that, but also focus on ourselves, not get too carried away with what's going on at their club, and just keep on the job in hand.
You're away at Hibs on Saturday again. Out of the two away games, both of them have been against your former clubs. Do you feel that playing in these grounds, because you've been there and been there playing on them regularly, does that help you as a player to know where all the bits and pieces are, where the wind's coming and where the surface is and things when you go to these grounds?
It says something about me that I've been around, but yeah, look, I think it definitely does. You get stadiums that you prefer, or you just get the eye. You maybe had a couple of goals there before. It gives you that confidence going back, and obviously it certainly helps if you've been at these stadiums before rather than being new to it. So again, it's a great stadium, great ground. Has a great atmosphere there, and it's just exciting to go back and play there and hopefully not hear too much noise.
Yeah, I mean, you've come back here to Dundee and hit the ground running from there, so you'll be hoping to go there and perform well on that ground and get a couple of goals obviously into the back.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, as I just said, the 3 points, would be a great result there, and there's no reason why if we're at it, we can't, you know, go and be competitive and get that. But it would be great to even, you know, add to the goal tally and help the boys. And yeah, just really looking forward to the game.
How do you think that the way that they play football here at Dundee suits your type of game?
Yeah, again, even though I've been here 3 weeks, I'm still getting used to the way certain players are playing, and they're getting used to the way that I am. But there's a real energy in the team, real front foot. You know, there's a lot of runners, a lot of legs pressing from the front, and you know, it certainly seems at the moment we've got real threat. You know, going forward as well as defensively as well, and you know, so it's a real. I'm excited to play in the team and play in front of some of the boys that are behind me as well.
You know, you've spoken about the fact the team are scoring goals for fun. At the moment, it's around 29 goals already so far in 7 competitive games. And for you, and obviously your position, just how do you find playing in the team at that moment where there are so many scoring chances being created?
Well, it's better than there's no chances being created. I've been there before, so no, look, it's great, and there is chances being created, but that's because the work that we're doing day to day, and we're getting to know each other, and you know, there's a real hunger in the group. So again, we know we're under no illusions that can stop if you stop doing the right things, and we just need to keep on doing what we're doing, and again, as long may that continue.
And just based on that start, there can't be many teams in the top flight that do have your name on the calendar and are looking forward to that game. And is that something that can give the team confidence that you can at the moment take the game to anyone you play?
Yeah, I think I think Barrett at the moment we're doing well. We're dangerous, and I think teams will be looking at us as well, and that's just credit to how we've started. But again, we just need to keep level-headed and just keep one game at a time and